Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, MBC Lifestyles Diary. My name is Marie and I live in New York and I love fashion, travel, and cultural events, and I'm asking you to join me on the adventure. Today we're at the Hammon Museum and Japanese Garden in Salem, New York. I am here to see an exhibit and hear a talk from my sister-in-law, Ada P Cruz. Join me. We're leaving the city. We're leaving the hustle and bustle, the concrete jungle to go up and see some fall foliage and admire Ada P Cruz's work at the Hammon Museum and Japanese Stroll Garden. This is a favorite pastime of New Yorkers, to go leave the city in the fall and look at the brilliant colors of autumn. So I'm taking you along on the ride so you can see as we leave the concrete jungle and hit patches of green until we finally hit the full-blown fall colors. And they were vibrant. It was truly beautiful. The Hammon Museum is open from Wednesday to Sunday, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's located at 28 DeVoe Road, North Salem, New York. Admission is $12 for adults, $8 for seniors and students. It's an hour and a half from New York City. The Hammon Museum was established by Natalie Hammon. Natalie Hammon lived from 1904 to 1985. She was the daughter of John Hayes Hammon, a well-known and prosperous mining engineer, diplomat, and philanthropist. Natalie's interest in the arts began early, and she was the youngest artist to show at the Royal Academy of London, where she was presented at the court of St. James. A woman of many talents, Natalie was a miniaturist, Broadway set and costume designer, author, and needlepoint artist. She also held a patent and amassed a collection of 20,000 books, which she kept in a library in her home next to the museum. A world traveler, throughout her life, Natalie built the Hammon Museum and Japanese Stroll Garden to be a peaceful gathering place that fosters cultural understanding. Ada P Cruz's exhibit was called Waka Waka. She got this saying from her visit to Peru, Machu Picchu, and Waka Waka means something that strikes you with force, that you just can't stop looking at. And this is how I felt about her sculptures. It was incredibly beautiful and wonderfully displayed, and simultaneously showed the progression of Ada's art. Ada P Cruz is from New York with family from Puerto Rico. Her education and life have been in both places. She has an MFA from Cranbrook Academy of Art, where she worked with ceramic sculpture and printmaking. In her museum speech, Ada explains how she came with the title Waka Waka. In the Quechan language of South America, Waka Waka is an object inhabited by a god or spirit that represents something revered. The Quechua people traditionally believed every object, figure, animal, artifact, mountain has a physical presence and two Kamakwan, spirits, one to create it and another to animate it. They would invoke the spirits for that object to function. There were two other exhibits going on at the museum at the time. One room was called Devotion, and it was in the Buddhist and Hindu tradition and the art of that devotion. And then the other room had the art of Japan, China, and Korea, and it was modern artists of those nations, and that was also very interesting. Then we stepped outside, and as you went outside in the Japanese house, there was another exhibit by Roger Bauman of wood-fired ceramics. Once outside, you see that you're in an intimate Japanese stroll garden. So there's a path, and there's greenery, and of course there's the Japanese maple, there's bamboo, and there's a water feature, and it's just as beautiful because it is the fall and the colors are stunning. And then there were different art pieces, large art pieces out in the landscape. This was very soothing. Next to the Japanese stroll garden is the Hammon home, and in that house there is a Japanese tea room. The components of the Hammon's tea room were prepared in Kyoto and followed traditional construction techniques, aesthetics, and materials. Initially, they were installed by Kyoto craftsmen at the Upper East Side Gallery of Kiyoshi Yanagi, who was a highly regarded dealer of Japanese classical and contemporary art. In 2011, Mr. Yangi generously donated the tea room, which was then reassembled in part of Natalie Hammon's library. The room was renamed Ryu Soi Ken in honor of Mr. Yangshi. Today, the Hammon offers tea ceremonies regularly in this room. Since its opening in 1958, Natalie Hammon considered her museum a place where visual and performing arts have found a continuity, a place to see, to listen, to think, even to contemplate peace. The nearly 4-acre garden is inspired by the stroll gardens created by the lords of Edo era, Japan. In designing her Garden of Serenity, Natalie Hammon borrowed the principles of the Japanese stroll garden. She called this her Garden of Serenity. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.